Hello, Coach Holmes here, and today we're going to be talking about the angle of elevation and the angle of depression as far as what they actually mean in real life. So basically, we're just trying to using trig in real life. Now, the angle of elevation is a pretty simple idea, okay? The angle of elevation is formed by the line of sight looking up and a horizontal line. So for example, if I have a horizontal line going this way, and if I'm looking up, that angle from my perspective going up with this horizontal line, that's the angle of elevation. Okay? Now, angle of depression is the same idea, but it's the opposite. That's formed by the line of sight looking down and a horizontal line. Okay, so again, from my perspective, so if I'm looking straight ahead, but I'm looking down from the horizontal line looking down, that's the angle of depression. Okay, so really it's all about the perspective of the angle where you're at, rather than, at least the difference between the two is whether you're looking up or looking down. So it's just that angle. Now, and again, a lot of this is basically word problems. Okay? It's just basically word problems. So, a person stands 5 meters from a building. The angle of elevation to the top of the building is 75 degrees. Find the height of the building to the nearest 10. Alright? So, if I get my calculator real quick. So, if I draw my little person, so this is me right here, not very tall. If I look up to the very top of the building, my angle is 75 degrees. Now, I know that I'm about 5 meters away, and I'm looking for this height. I'm looking for X here. I'm looking at how tall that building is. So, what I know is that I have, let me put it in red, I have the opposite and the adjacent for it. So I know that if we remember SOHCAHTOA, which I haven't, just remember, S is sine, O is opposite, H is hypotenuse, C is cosine, A is adjacent, we get H again as hypotenuse, T is tangent, O is opposite, A is adjacent. So, I know I have opposite over adjacent, so I gotta use tangent. Now, is tangent of 75 equals to the opposite over the adjacent? Okay? So I gotta be able to figure out what X is. So if I multiply 5 to both sides, I'm gonna get X equals 5 times tan of 75. And that'll give me 18.66 meters. So that's how I find how tall the building is. If I can if I know what my angle is based on how I look up, I can determine, and I know how far away from the building I am, I can find my height using trigonometry. Now, we can do the same things for airplanes, okay? We do the same thing here. So, what I gotta be able to do, well, first of all, I need to know what's going on. The pilot of the airplane finds an angle of depression to the airport. I'm gonna draw a little airport. That is, well, better yet, let me be more accurate. There we go. That's 16 degrees. If the altitude, which how tall the building is, how tall, which is how high you're up, altitude is how high up you are, the height, that's 6,000. Find the horizontal distance. So I'm gonna find this distance right here. Now, I can't use 16 because that's not inside the triangle. Because here's the triangle right here. 16 is not part of the triangle. But what I can do is I can subtract 90 from 16 to get me 74. So 74 degrees. Now, I have opposite over the adjacent. So I can do, so remember SOHCAHTOA? Opposite adjacent gives me tangent. So tangent of 74, and that will give me opposite over adjacent. So of course, if I'm dividing by a number, if I'm dividing x by a number, I gotta multiply the number to both sides. So 6,000 times tangent of 74 equals to x. So 6,000 times tangent of 74, x will give me 20,924.5 meters away. Or, yeah. And that's how I find the distance. So basically it's not any different as far as using trigonometry that we've been talking about. Now we're just using it in word problems, being able to solve a word problem using trigonometry. And what we just got to remember is that sine is opposite over hypotenuse, cosine is adjacent over hypotenuse, and tangent is opposite over adjacent. Thank you and have a good day.